Good afternoon. Welcome to the Northpoint of View here with Dr. Walter Kimsey. Walter, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mark. How are you?
Good, man. How are you?
You know what? I'm so crazy busy these days.
Yeah.
That I'm deliberately planning my schedule next week to take a 4-day weekend. Just have to. I'm getting burned out. There's so much change happening.
If anybody deserves and needs a 4-day weekend, it's you.
Oh, thank you for saying that.
Which is a sign of the times, right? Everybody's hustling. Everybody's working. There's change everywhere, right? There's I don't know if it's chaos, but it just feels like there's a micro burst of change everywhere you look, every sector.
Yeah.
I mean, inventory, shipping, construction, commodity prices, banking, government intervention. I mean, it's just it seems like it's just crazy right now.
Oh, it absolutely is. And the thing is I'm pretty good at taking things apart so we understand the pieces and then putting it back together.
Because we've got to get you better on putting things back together again. You're the guy that takes the watch apart and figures out the piece and how it works and then walks away and finds another project.
Yeah, exactly. Well, who wants to take the time to reassemble it?
I got 72 pieces of a watch on my desk here. And now you got your Apple Watch. You say, I know what time it is.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have to do anything anymore. Oh, man.
All right. So there's another shift that you and I have been talking about. I guess in short version, Flexport going vertical, right?
Yeah.
And so what I'm going to do, because I don't like going vertical.
Right.
I'm a horizontal guy. This is yours.
Yeah.
So just take the camera off me. I'm not even going to cue you up. You just got to talk for 8 minutes because I'm out, man. I don't want to talk vertical.
Well, the vertical is the supply chain.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
And I was privileged once with Descartes. They brought me to their customer day thing and asked me to give a talk to them and their customers about the trends. And they let me sit in on several sessions amongst their clients under NDA. And I learned that what they were doing is something called pooled distribution.
Yeah.
So if you're a really big retailer, a Walmart, an Amazon, a Target, you've got scale economy advantages that you could use to just knock out any medium-sized retailer to small-sized retailer.
And it's really that's the edge, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the margin that gives them the ability to do what they do, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So the mid-sized retailers that they showed me got together. Their products were not incompatible. And so they were getting their products onto containers, sometimes sharing containers in Asia. And then it would come to the US, and in certain cities, they had a 3PL who picked their stuff up, took it to one big warehouse. They treated it as if it was an Amazon warehouse, but with different divisions or different types of goods within the warehouse: clothing, ladies' undergarments, books, but stuff that wouldn't create a problem for the other product by being stored in the same area.
Yeah, just a quick look at that, saving them time and money right there.
Right, and it gets better.
Yeah.
But then they would have a van pick up stuff for the different retailers and then drive into New York City and stop at the stores and drop off some for store 1, for store 2, for store 3, and basically savings all the way from Asia into the cities.
Wow.
So that's kind of vertical, but not there. And then what we've seen is companies like WWL, Wilhelmsen Logistics, who move cars around. They learned to go to the automobile manufacturers and sit in their factory meetings where they plan production, which is a dumb thing to do if you don't simultaneously plan your logistics.
Right.
And so when WWL sat down with them to plan the logistics, cost savings came out all over the place. And so instead of just going port to port, they were going factory to port to dealership. And at both ends, they have a lot of vehicle processing. And what happens is, cars that were made that are now made in Detroit, they're going to go to Saudi Arabia. Well, when that little mirror sign says objects appear closer than they really are, well, that's in English. They need it in Arabic. So you hire 10 guys for the 200 cars that are going to Saudi Arabia. They spend a few days taking off that little decal and putting another decal on, until all the cars have been, set up for Saudi Arabia. And so this is much cheaper to have a part-time worker doing it than a $120 an hour mechanic at a dealership doing it. So there's savings all over the place. So back in 2016, I met the guys in Damco up in Chatham in New Jersey. And at the time, Maersk had decided no more APM terminals, no more Maersk shipping, and I forgot the name of their Damco, and no more 3PL called Damco. Everybody's Maersk. You're all blue. Put a streak of blue across their faces. That's it. Now, go make money. Go make real money. And the problem is all three segments of the business were commoditized. And so if you put three commoditized businesses together, it's like adding three zeros. Okay, it's still zero. You can get all the zeros you want. It's zero. So I was talking to the head of Damco. I was at JLL at the time, and I said, why aren't you doing what WWL did? Why aren't you doing what Descartes did? You need to go beyond, the little warehouse to warehouse. How do you go into the factories? How do you get into the home delivery that's going to grow and grow and grow and be a worser and worser problem, to quote Lewis Carroll? And we saw slowly that they started to buy warehouses, distribution centers, and basically, they even bought a company that specializes in home delivery technology. So they're doing exactly that. And it's interesting to watch them versus MSC, Mediterranean Shipping. They're just buying bigger and bigger and bigger ships, more bigger ships, and they're not doing the vertical. And it is a commoditized business, and I personally think they're making a terrible mistake. On top of it, as we pull away from China, and we go to other places that can't take these monster ships, they may not be needed.
Right.
You go to Nava Shiva in India, and maybe a 7,000 TEU vessel is more effective than showing up with a 14, 16, 18, whatever. Anyways, so it was interesting to see that what Flexport has been doing. They acquired a Canadian company that specializes in supporting e-commerce, and they are buying trucking companies. And what they're trying to do is essentially the same thing Maersk is. They want to go to the factory in China and support the flow of the cargo all the way through to either the warehouse doorstep or else, if possible, even get into the doorstep delivery for e-commerce.
But that's got to be part of the strategy for these mid-sized companies, right? Otherwise, the top three guys just take over.
Yeah,
right?
But you see, the problem is big companies are good with dealing with big companies. They're not good with dealing with little companies. So a book that is required reading, if you want to understand the world of tomorrow, is The Platform Revolution. So companies like Maersk have for years and years tried to take over all the business away from the small freight forwarders. The freight forwarders around the world, they have their own association. They know each other. If you've got 3 containers to ship from Mozambique to Paraguay, you get in contact with the freight forwarder. You don't go to a big ocean carrier.
Right.
They just don't have the capacity to worry about all of these small accounts. Well, maybe not the interest, but the capacity maybe. But anyways, the Platform Revolution, it says basically what you do is you create a platform where all of those people who normally couldn't get a car ride and need a car ride, and all of those people who would be willing to give somebody a ride can get together, and if it looks like there's a match, somebody can get a car ride that they really need, and somebody scores a few bucks, makes their car payment.
Yeah.
And that's the Uber Lyft thing, but this is also in warehouse exchange.
Yeah.
Jonathan Rosenthal is started. You see Flex E also, but they only really serve the big companies, whereas the other one serves small companies, like the Beanie Baby maker in phase 0 of its development.
Yeah.
I need 5,000 square feet. And so, to me, I think that Flexport is not going after the Walmarts.
Right.
They're going after the Walt's Bait Shop.
Yeah.
Okay? It's me that he's going after. I have bait shops all around the world, and I get all of these little rubber worms coming from Japan and China, and I need help.
Right.
And, I'm never going to be at the scale of a big retailer, and I don't want to be. So I'm a good target client. Now, could Maersk be a good service provider for me? I don't know. MSC, I don't know. But these guys are willing to help me with a lot of problems. So I think it's an interesting advancement in the vertical revolution.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just sort of reminds me of something that, you know, in a way, it's funny to say it now, but something like Uber Eats 5 years ago sounded like the smallest niche in the world. I mean, who's going to pay a driver, and what driver is actually going to go, and who's going to order to have, you know, Taco Bell delivered to their door? And now everybody does.
See, as human beings, we're getting lazier and lazier and lazier. We no longer cook for ourselves. Somebody else cooks for us. We don't drive to pick up our food.
It's cheaper to outsource it.
Exactly.
Hey, Walter, always good, man.
Hey, good seeing you.
All right, thanks,
Hey,
man.
take care.
See you.
We are taping still.
Yeah, Auburn, you just ran right into the taping of the sequence.
Yeah, we are taping. No, it's fine. I'll cut this. I'll cut this.
This has never happened before.
So sorry.